for God's blessing. In the name of the Father, of the Son, of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Dear God, please bless this gathering, our second webinar and pulong for the Patnubay sa Pagtatagumpay program. God bless the speakers tonight and the moderator, the steering committee, and all the mentors and mentees, as well as those attending the program tonight. God bless the mentoring partnerships that they have and help it become fruitful and to reach their smart goals. This we ask in Jesus' name. Amen. In the name of the Father, of the Son, of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sager. Good evening, everyone. Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat, PNAA community, our dear mentors and mentees, to our guests, and also to our steering committee. Magandang gabi. Welcome to our second webinar series titled Charting a Path to a Life-Fulfilling Career. My name is Dr. Worley Remigio, and I'll be the moderator for tonight. And to formally open, we would like to welcome our dear President, Dr. Gloria Briones, to give us the welcome remarks.
So good evening, everyone, and thank you to the speakers. Thank you to the steering committee, and thank you to the participants that are here tonight. And my goal is to really be kind of deeply into this webinar, Pulong 2, that is going to, we're going to hear the stories of our dear colleagues that have made it into a successful career because they're very goal-oriented and they have the strategies and toolkit that they could share with us tonight. That's my hope, that we could take away from them. And so welcome, everyone. And again, I'm excited because we have such a powerful speakers, Dr. Doliente, as well as Dr. Monagao. So good evening, everyone.
Thank you so much, Dr. Briones. And I can't agree more. We have the powerhouse in this webinar. And I'd like to introduce them to you. We're very fortunate to have Dr. Mona Lisa Gao. She is the Vice President and Chief Nursing Officer of Ascension Seven Northwest and Southwest Hospitals. And we have Dr. Dino Doliente, the Senior Vice President, Quality and Innovation at Sunmar Health Services, and also the President of AcroPro Philippines. We're very thrilled to have you both, Dr. Doliente and Dr. Gao. So, are you ready? I'd like to throw them a couple of questions, and we'll be hearing their responses. And again, this will be very informal, very casual. And we're so delighted to have both of them. I have my first question. Tell us about your nursing journey. And if you can describe what led you to become a nurse, what experiences or defining moments have shaped you as a successful nurse and nurse leader? I can ask Dr. Gao to go first. Ladies first.
Thank you, Warley, and thank you again to our Philippine Nurses Association of America family for having been considered as one of the panelists for this evening's P3 webinar. I was born and raised in Tuguegarao, Cagayan, in the northern part of the Philippines. Growing up, I really love science, and I competed in a lot of science fair events. In fact, I thought I was going to pursue a degree as a Bachelor of Science in chemistry. I just love science so much. At that time, when I was a teenager, two of my mom's younger siblings were actually living in our house because it was close to St. Paul College of Tuguegarao. So they were both pursuing nursing. And even as a teenager, I had the curiosity of looking at their books. I was very fascinated when they would take my blood pressure using the blood pressure machine. I learned about the mercury and what the sphygmomonitor was like. And so I was just really very excited. And before going to college, our life circumstances have changed. My father's health has had a turn for the worse. And so my sister and I being the older sister, I helped my mom take care of my father, and my mom usually couldn't leave the province. So I was the one that accompanied my dad when he needed medical treatment in Manila. So during those times that it was only just me and my father, there was that deep longing in my heart that I wanted to give the best to my father, to take care of him, and also look at the things that the wonderful nurses were doing to help him get better. Looking back, I also realized that whenever somebody was sick in our compound, we live in a compound with my grandparents, they would come to me, they would call me, they would ask me what's wrong with me, and I would always be the first one. I'm always the first one there when somebody was sick, and I was also the first one when somebody was at their deathbed. I have been part of the passing of so many relatives, and I usually would ask them to pray for us who are still living. And so I went to nursing school when everybody thought that I was going to be a doctor, because usually in the Philippines, if you are smart and you graduated valedictorian from high school, they expect you to be a doctor. But I chose the path of nursing because I see myself as a caregiver. And in all the roles that I have been blessed to serve in, either as a direct care nurse, as a nurse educator, as a nurse leader, I've always seen myself as pouring into others from a place of caring. Caring is such an important part of who I am, and through the years, it has defined my journey as a nurse. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mamona. It's so crystal clear, right? That who you are today defines your passion and purpose. So thank you for sharing. Let's go to Dr. Doliente.
Thanks, Dr. Romelio and Dr. Mona. That's a great story of how you started your career, But I wish I had the same thing that I can share. But truth be told, that I'm one of those nurses who became a nurse, and it wasn't necessarily my initially my passion. I'm one of those sons in the Philippines, wherein I wanted to be a good son to my mom and a good son to my grandmother. And when we graduate in high school in the Philippines at the age of 15, 16, right? And at that age, at least for me, I don't really know yet what I want to be when I grow up. And so I just went ahead with the prodding of my cousins who are nurses, my aunts who are nurses, and my sister was a nurse. So I said, let me be a nurse too. So fast forward to when I came to America in New Jersey in 1995, and I was 12 years old then at the time. And I knew right there and then that maybe it's not the path for me career-wise. And I was glad, though, to realize that nursing in America is such a diverse profession. There's so many things that we can do, right? We are not tied to just, we're not tied to be a clinician, a clinical nurse, and work on the bedside, but there's a plethora of different options for us. right? We can be in academia, we can be in research, and I found out we can be, in case management, utilization review, a lot of areas. So when I try to reflect at the time what my aptitude is, and I've always known though that I think my aptitude is numbers. I love numbers. One of my two passions is numbers. And so when I had the opportunity to go back to school, I pursued my master's in business administration. And it served me well because since 1999 up to now, that is what I've been doing with my day job. And I'm in the finance and clinical reimbursement of the healthcare industry still. So, and I've never been happier. And I think one of the questions to Warley is what was like the defining moment for me as a nurse leader? And there's so many defining moments, I think, but I would like to pick and choose that my defining moment as a nurse leader is my exposure to PNAA. My first national convention in Anaheim in 2007. That is when I realized that when I met the Leo Jurados of the world, the May Mayors of the world, the Lolita Compas of the world in Anaheim, that's when I said, I want to be like them as well. And the rest was history. Thanks, Marley.
Oh, thank you both. Those are very inspiring story. And we're so blessed to one, get to know you at a deeper level, and to have you both as mentors. And yes, Dino, I think nursing has a lot of great opportunities. And just looking both of your backgrounds, you've been nurse clinicians, educators, you've been in finance, quality, right? Both of you had the expertise in quality reimbursements. It's amazing. One of my questions to both of you, there are some challenges, of course, right, in your journey. If you can share with us, what are those challenges or barriers, and how did you overcome them?
So I'll start with my experience in the Philippines and then my experience here in the US. So I became Dean of a College of Nursing in the Philippines at the age of 26. I was qualified, however, I was also very young and I had very limited experience. At the time, I was also just starting a family. I soon realized that the responsibilities and duties of a Dean of a College of Nursing were taking a toll on me as a young mother and also as a new wife and also as a new professional. Because of this, I sought advice from my mentor, Sister Remy Angela Junio, who was my former dean at St. Paul University College of Nursing. Sister Remy supported me and helped me with resources, sharing best practices as the dean, but also at the same time, she made it very real for me. She didn't sugarcoat things. She told me it was going to be difficult, and she told me she taught me a very important advice early on in my professional career. Each time we would talk, she would help me with the administration side or the job part, but then she would always balance it with, how are you doing with your family? Are you happy? Are you able to balance the things that are being asked of you on both sides, personal and professional? And during that early stage in my professional career, she taught me a very invaluable lesson. And that was the lesson of knowing what my priorities were and what should matter at the time. And to make that story short, I knew that when I transitioned to a different role, I was able to be more present to my family, and it actually made me more engaged in my professional career. Another example where I experienced challenges was when I was here in the United States. Although I had a previous leadership experience in the Philippines, it took me a long time to really take that leap of faith to consider a leadership role. I was always doubting myself and thinking that I wasn't good enough, that I may not be able to be there for my family if they needed me, because being in a leadership role meant 24/7 accountability. And worse, I was so afraid that I will be fired. And so it was only when my eldest son was a sophomore in high school and my youngest son was in middle school that I decided that I will accept a director of education role. I was able to overcome my own doubts by pursuing another master's degree, and this was a master's in public administration at the University of Texas with a focus in hospital administration. I have been in a direct care role for about 7 years in the United States, and I had the opportunity to work full-time as a nurse faculty in Fort Worth, Texas. And at the time, I was also involved with the Philippine Nurses Association of North Texas. In hindsight, I look at it as the right time. The timing was perfect. I was ready on a personal level, and I was also ready on a professional level. So I knew that I will still have challenges along the way. However, the timing was important.
Thank you, Dr. Gao. I know that resonates to a lot of us, knowing the professional gaps of our mentees and even myself. It's hard. We always have those imposter syndrome, right? Especially when you're young and you're leading a lot of experience and seasoned nurses. That's really a challenge, and that finding that balance is I think you're right on target, Dr. Gao.
I love you. I love your comment, Warley, about the imposter syndrome. How many times have I been through that, or for majority of us? Every time I'm being asked to speak, I usually have to overcome, and I have to prepare, and I have to really validate myself that, you can do this. And it always takes the people closest to me, my husband and my son. They would always say, "Mom, you're going to do well. There was a reason why they asked you to share your thoughts, your stories." And so that imposter syndrome really is so real. But I think what makes it something that we can overcome is the support of the people who believe in us, and also our own ability to say, "I was chosen, I was given this opportunity, and I want to make it such that the people who have given their trust in me will be validated for choosing me."
Right. Thank you, Dr. Gao. Dino, what were your barriers and some challenges along your journey?
Yeah, I think like many of us, especially for the ones who were educated back in the Philippines and coming to America, I think we have our own little stories to tell, right? And I'm one of those nurses as well that, unfortunately, I didn't have any experience as a nurse in the Philippines. So you can just imagine when I first came to America in New Jersey, that's when I first started to work as a nursing assistant at that time. And then, becoming a staff nurse. I had such a dilemma, with adjustment. But it's kind of like a good thing though, because I'm innately like I'm always like how do they call it? like a SpongeBob. I'm the one that always always wanting to learn, and whatever you teach me, I learn it to a T, right? I'm always like curious. I'm a curious George. If I have a coworker who's using a new equipment that I haven't seen, I'm the first one to say, "Hey, can you show that to me?" Right? And I think it served me well because it helped me with basically adjusting to the many intricacies of becoming a nurse in the US. The other barrier too is I think like Mona said, I think I became a nurse manager when I was 26 years old, and one of those I think I shared this in Hawaii during the convention that I'm one of those managers. I came to work one day and found out that I'm the nurse manager. And it was challenging for me as well because I didn't have preparation for that. You know, I would like to believe at the time that I was a good clinician. So if you're a good clinician, then you can be a good manager too. But was I wrong? Because management is a skill. It's something that you have to learn as well. And unfortunately, I didn't have a good mentor at the time. So I learned a lot of trial and error. And so it was very challenging for me. Then along the way, came very good mentors that I was able to work with. In fact, speaking of mentors, I am so thankful of being involved with the Philippine Nurses Association of Maryland chapter, because that's when I got to meet a lot of the great mentors who have done it, in Maryland, like the Vicky Navarros of the world, the Dina Franciscets, the Faye Neves-Co. I learned a lot from them, and it didn't only help me as a nurse leader in PNA Maryland, but even as a nurse leader at work. So it was good. And I think ultimately one of the other barrier to like personal for me is when I was starting as a nurse in America, I had a hard time of really navigating what will be my pathway, career-wise in America. I was because again I was younger then. Like I said, I was 12. Kidding, but I was younger when I first became a nurse in the U.S. And so it was a little tough for me because again at that point in time I didn't really have good mentors that I could bounce back my thoughts, my ideas, my goals. So and then eventually I realized, after a few years that and I used to use this as well in one of my presentation is starting with the end in mind, beginning with the end in mind. What's my end game, right? And when I started to realize that, right, and then things became like smoother because now I have a path. I have a goal, what I want to be when I grow up. And having said that, my goals, our goals, they change as well. As we become older, as we become more mature, they change as well. So we just have to be, I guess, be able to realize that, right, and go with the flow. Thanks, Dr. Warley.
No, thank you. I think you both really amplified the value of mentorship. So PNAA is in the right path. And I can't agree more. We have plethora of mentors, right? We have a bunch of amazing educators, nurse leaders, nurse scientists, innovators. And what I really liked the most for both of you is while you're sharing your challenges, and it stood out, the great qualities, strengths of being a nurse or being a nurse leader. I heard about the agility. I heard about being goal-oriented, the persistence, grit. So I really appreciate your sharing. And as we talk about mentors, and I know a lot of our mentees who are new to building relationships, if you can give us some perspectives on how did you grow your relationship with those mentors? How did you build those trusting relationships?
So thank you, Warley. I've been blessed to have had mentors through the years. I have learned a lot from the example and advice of others. The first one I would like to mention, and I don't want to date him because he doesn't look his age, is Dr. Leo Felix Jurado, whom we lovingly call Sir Leo. Even when I was still in college, wink, wink, he doesn't look his age, he's ageless. Sir Leo would come home to the Philippines and he would always spend time with us. He would share his knowledge, he would share all his experiences here in the United States. And we who were still studying nursing are always inspired. We always leave those presentations that he had really inspired and again, charting a path for ourselves to really succeed in our nursing career. During the time when we didn't have really good internet, we had what we call dial-up internet. I wrote a letter to Sir Leo and told him, Sir Leo, I want to go to the United States, but I don't know how. And he actually helped me navigate that. And that's why my family started in New Jersey because of Sir Leo, and we will always be grateful to him. My first 3 years in the United States in New Jersey, I was really very, very fortunate because Sir Leo was the one that introduced me to academia. He was then connected with the County College of Morris. And because of him, I would work my 3 clinical shifts as a nurse at Riverview Medical Center. And I would teach as an adjunct clinical instructor at the County College of Morris. And that is coming from central New Jersey to northern New Jersey. And thank God we had a very reliable family van. And my husband would take the entire family and my kids would do their homework and mom would be doing the clinical work with my students. What those experiences have taught me is that I was so passionate about teaching. It was something that I can do very, very naturally. Yes, I was new in the United States, but I wasn't new to teaching. It was really part of my caring gift. And so I was part of the journey of those students. I also taught second-degree students, former stockbrokers, engineers, who really had successful careers, but then because of circumstances had to turn to nursing and then found out that they love nursing. Because of Sir Leo, I was also introduced to the University of Medicine and Dentistry of New Jersey. And then I also had the opportunity to teach at Robert Wood Johnson. And all these experiences have really opened a lot of opportunities for me because it built on my confidence. And then it also allowed me to expand my professional network. So much so that when we moved to Fort Worth, Texas, after 3 years in New Jersey, I was able to teach full-time at the Tarrant County College of Nursing in Fort Worth. I actually was able to work full-time for 3 years. And then my last 2 years, I worked as an adjunct. I would not have discovered my first director role had I not been in that teaching role, because it was how I was connected with the chief nursing officer of the hospital. And so to Sir Leo, through the years, you've always been there for your fellow Polinian, your Cagayano, kababayans. And he is always the first one when I need a recommendation letter, reference letter. He will always be the first one who will write those for me. So I'll always be grateful. The second mentor that has really influenced my life as a professional is Sister Remy Angela Junio, my former dean at the St. Paul University College of Nursing. Sister Remy is a visionary leader. She always thinks like 10 years ahead of her time. And I always wondered when I was with her how she has developed that visionary thinking. And learning from her, she was also very transparent when it comes to opportunities for improvement. So she was always there, being able to provide you with the things that you're doing well and the things that you can work on. And so when I came to the United States, I have been blessed again because Sister Remy would always visit me when she's here in the US, and I would always visit her when I was in Tuguegarao. And I know that Sister Remy or Sir Leo, they were both in academia, but the one thing that they both shared was the encouragement to be a different type of leader, a leader that is able to recognize their charisma And when we talk about charism, it's really being able to fully realize your God-given talents and being able to use those God-given talents for the good of others. Thank you.
Wow, I think there's a lot there to say and to digest. And yeah, I can agree more, Mamona. And kudos to you too, because I would say that I've learned a lot from you too. You were my professor when I was in college and became a mentor until now. And yeah, to Sir Leo, how many seminars or conferences I sat at to his lectures, because he demonstrates this sense of humility. He always go back, and I can't count on my fingers how many times he went back to Gigrao, to Cagayan, to share his expertise and his wisdom. Thank you. So let's proceed with Dr. Doliente.
Yeah, I think Dr. Leo can do a presentation on mentorship, right? Because he's actually one of my mentors as well that I really think very highly of. And but I actually have a few, but for the interest of time, I would just like to highlight maybe one. Um, uh, this is a person at work. In fact, he's the very reason why I ended up in California. I was comfortably living in Baltimore, but when this guy called me, you know, I always say this, that when the Pope calls you to go to church, no questions asked, right? You have to go to church. So when he called me to come to California and join him, you know, I had to pack my bags and be a California server boy. But anyway, like I mentioned earlier, my area of expertise in nursing is the health, you know, the finance and the clinical reimbursement side of it. So and I get too passionate about these kinds of things, you know, sometimes too passionate. And one of our meetings, one of our financial reviews, we do that like every month. And sometimes I get, you know, disgruntled when our goals are not being met, our KPIs for finance are not being met. And, you know, I remember this very well when he stopped me and said, hey, you know, I said, Dino, um, you know, I truly appreciate your passion about what we do, about what we're trying to accomplish. But and he said that, but I always believe he said that if we take care of our people, our patients, then the numbers will follow. That if we provide excellent care and quality care to our patients, and if we treat our people well, then the money will follow. You know what he did at that point in time is, oh my God, you know, for the longest time, I kind of lost track of the value of what I do because I'm so driven by numbers and then not realizing that I'm still in healthcare. It's all about the patients, right? And up to this point, it's been like maybe like 10 years when he said that. He's retired now, you know, retiring in Dana Point. Such a nice place, but I always remember that. It always reverberates in my head. And up to now, and even and whatever I do, I always put into at the forefront the people, and that guy that I've learned a lot over the years. I've worked with him since 1999. Actually, he retired in 2016, 17, and we still keep in touch. Sometimes I still pick his pearls of wisdom, you know, on some of the things that I encounter at work. And I think the moral lesson of the story is to really have good mentors, mentors that you can trust, and mentors that you could really learn from. So thanks, Dr. Wally.
Thank you, Dino. You both underscored the value of relationship building, right? And having great mentors really nurture your not only your passion but your purpose. You both alluded that so clearly. The other question that I have, which I know this would interest our audience as well, is about educational advancement and professional development. And knowing both your track records Um, Dino, you had MBA, and Mamona, you have MSN, you have MPA, and both of you are you've garnered your doctoral degrees. So give us your perspective on how did you align whether your educational degrees or fellowship programs that you attended in terms of continuously developing your path.
So thank you, Arlie. I am a lifelong learner. According to my Clifton Strengths Finder top 5, learner is one of my strengths. I continue to learn on a daily basis. So in 2012, I actually had the opportunity to pursue my terminal degree in nursing. However, at the time, I was also at a crossroads, having been in my director role and really appreciating hospital operations. And so instead of going for my DNP, I opted to pursue a master's in public administration. And what that did for me was it actually allowed me to be with a diverse group of professionals who were not only in nursing, but were also in finance and other types of work settings that was healthcare related. And so my perspectives about nursing were more were taken at a broader level. And I had the opportunity to develop professional relationships and networks, not only in nursing, but outside of nursing. At that time, we were also trying to implement the Affordable Care Act. So I thought that taking a master's in public administration would make me more cognizant of the changes that were happening with healthcare delivery. And in 2018, I was an associate chief nursing officer, and my goal was to make sure that I completed my terminal degree by 2020 in response to the Future of Nursing call to action. So that was my personal and professional goal. And I was able to do that despite the pandemic, balancing a full-time job, being over the COVID units, and also working on my scholarly projects and academic requirements. In addition to formal academic initiatives, I also make it a point that I set aside time to work on joining professional conferences, just like those led by the Philippine Nurses Association of America and the AONL, ACHE, other. And those are all good because they develop you professionally and personally. I also do something that is quite different, and this is probably different from what others have heard. I also invest in a 4-day silent retreat, where it is a retreat with the Jesuits in Lake Dallas, in northern Dallas. And when I start that retreat on the Thursday evening, there's no digital access. I turn off my phone, and I will only turn it on Sunday at Sunday Mass. And so to me, it's so important to have a balance, to be able to grow professionally, but also to be able to grow personally. And my spiritual growth has been one of the things that I have been working on, especially as I move through this stage in my life. I want to make sure that I'm investing in that part of my development.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gao, for sharing that. I think we all need that, right? Some type of retreat. I have a question for you, Dino, because I know you're very active in professional organizations. Obviously, you're our past president of PNAA, and now president of the SLUNAI, the St. Louis University Alumni International. So can you can you share with us your perspective how this how your involvement in this professional organization really nurture your career growth and your passion, of course?
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Like what you mentioned, I first started with the Philippine Nurses Association of Maryland chapter, back when I was in Baltimore, and I think you cannot put a price tag. I mean, we have those many tangible benefits that we get from this organization, right? Like the scholarships, the conferences, those kinds of things, the journals. But I think I value more the intangibles of this organization, you know. And I always say this, that the networking that we get from this, there's no price for that. And I think because of PNAA, I was able to connect with a lot of people all over the country, not only in the US, but even in the Philippines. You know, it's funny because when I go to the Philippines for convention, people, even like a few years ago, they already know me. And that part, you know, and I know that I know a lot of stories from the members wherein they were able to, because of that network, it works so well for them with their careers, with their you know, with their professions, etc. And I think just the perspective of being able to give back, you know, it's such a fulfilling feeling, right? In fact, like what you said, I have founded the St. Louis University Nurses Association International. And the same thing is the very purpose of that organization is actually to give back, you know. In fact, our mantra, which is in Latin, it's called Codonum Mundi. And in English, that means be a gift to the world. So yeah, again, up to now, when I finished my presidency in 2018, I said, that's it, right? But why am I still around? Why am I still here tonight, right? Why I still go to conferences? You know, I was in Hawaii last weekend with some of you guys. Because again, that's the thing that I always say, that this organization is a lot of things, right? And if anything, though, it does a lot of great things for me personally, and that's why I'm still here. Thanks, Dr. Worley.
Wow, thank you, thank you. There's a lot of pearl of wisdom, and we really appreciate your sharing tonight. As we jump to my last question, I see a lot of smiles from the audience and a lot of nodding while you both are sharing your perspectives, your stories. So you're truly a gift, not only to us, but to the nursing community, really. So thank you for your time. In 3 words, right? If you were to select 3 words, what would those be as 3 main takeaways for our mentees who are listening tonight? Just 3 words, not a sentence.
Warley, can I do 3 bullet points? Really concise bullet points. So I have 3, and I have to thank Brene Brown for these 3. First is be brave. When I say be brave, it always takes courage to own your story. Embrace who you are, own your heritage, and be proud of your personal brand. Second is be curious. When you are curious, you only don't become interested in new things, but also in the stories of others. The third is be kind. Be kind means when you're understanding and embracing your own story, you become more open to the stories of others, and you become more human. Thank you.
Thank you. I love those. Thank you, Ma'am Mona. All right, Dino.
Yeah. So, well, 3 words is and I live this. I eat and breathe this for breakfast. Is passion, purpose, and grit. You know, and then doing what you're passionate about. Do what you love and do it well. But whatever you do, you have to have an inner purpose. Why are you doing? What is your why? Why you're doing that? And you have to discover it. If you don't know yet what is your why, then it's about time to find that out. And third is grit. You know, in this industry and what we do every day, it's not easy. There's a lot of challenges, so you have to have the grit, the perseverance to weather all the challenges and the storms that will come your way. So passion, purpose, and grit. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Very well said, Dr. Gao and Dr. Doliente. As our final concluding code, I would like to share this to our team. And I hope this is something that will also resonate to all of you as we continue to nurture our path to life-fulfilling career. And both of them alluded these words, plan purposefully, prepare prayerfully, proceed positively, and pursue persistently. Thank you all for gracing your time with us tonight. I hope you've picked up something from the sharings that was again given to us by Dr. Doliente and Dr. Gao. Thank you. And where's my timekeeper, Carol? Do we have a few minutes for Q&A before we give to Dr. Horado the closing remarks?
Hi, Dr. Remigio. We do not have any questions, but lots of accolades for our panelists here and a lot of sharing about their mentorship journey.
Great. All right. So if there's no other questions, then we can invite our executive director. Oh, oops, I see some
I
hand.
see a hand, yeah.
Dr. Ramos.
Yep. Hi, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Doliente and Dr. Gao. That was really insightful with your journey. I know we learned a lot of things. I'm just like plugging in with the post-course evaluation survey. Just to continue on with our Pulong, of course, we want to improve on our program. So please complete the survey. It's in the chat box. So just click it. And then, you know, if you're happy, just put everything very good and excellent. So that, and if you have recommendations, please put it in there so we can plan and prepare accordingly and tailor the program for you, because this is all for you guys. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Mary Joyce. All right. Other questions, comments? Without further ado, we'll invite then our Executive Director of the Philippine Nurses Association of America, Dr. Leo Horado, to give us the closing remarks.
Good evening, everyone. When I got a text earlier from Dr. Sager, if I could do closing remarks, although I knew beforehand that I should be doing closing remarks this evening. Actually, I came home from my office today. I was feeling sick, but remembering that Dr. Doliente and Dr. Gao are the speakers, I forced myself to put my shirts on and thought that I would not miss it for the world to do the closing remarks. As you can see, it's so remarkable to see them share their experiences, and you can see that both of them have taken different pathways. One is in finances, the other one is in administration. Both are related, but so many things of Dr. Doliente and Dr. Gao they have in common. Both of them are past chapter presidents of PNAA, PNA North Texas, Dallas for Dr. Gao, and PNA Maryland for Dr. Doliente. And both pursued their DNP, and it's not an easy thing to get a doctoral degree. They both have zest for life, and I've witnessed that watching them through the years. And they have life goals, and they work hard in achieving those goals. And both of them have mentors, and each one of us should have mentors. And I've always mentioned this in my classes, that you should have mentors for your professional life. You should have mentor for your personal life. You should even have a mentor for your love life. Is there a person that you could call at the middle of the night, or maybe at 3 a.m. when you have a flat tire, that you could count on that person to come and rescue you? They could be your friend, but they could also be your mentors. So that there are people that you could think of that you don't have hesitations in terms of sharing your failures, your dissatisfactions in life, and helping you go through life. One thing I remember of Dr. Gao, actually, she was the first faculty that I hired who graduated from the Philippines. I know her capability then, and I was the one responsible for hiring new faculty. I didn't even consider at that time. It's not a practice to hire someone else who graduated their masters from the Philippines. It's not common. So she actually was the first person I hired for a master's completion in the Philippines and to become a faculty here in the United States. And I can imagine what she was telling you about driving a van, because she lives from South Jersey and coming to Somerset Medical Center in Central Jersey to teach, and just to have that experience. And that's basically that's persevering. I didn't even realize that I was a part of her coming to the US, being hired, but that's how you would see how mentorship come along, that you don't even put the price on it, and you just do it. I've seen Dr. Doliente being so gung-ho, being the president of PNA Maryland, but he has the ambition that one day he would become the president of PNA America. And he just did that because he had proven his abilities, and not only his abilities, not only his competencies, but his ability to relate with people, and actually valuing those relationships, establishing those relationships with other people, being humble, easy, getting along. You could get well along with people are keys. So again, we are all connected by, I think it says 6 degrees by Kevin Bacon. It talks about we are all connected by 6 degrees in one way or another, that even though we don't know each other at one point, at one cycle of our lives, we are just connected that we don't even know how things trickle down from what we do now, and the harvest that we get in the end. So looking at both of them, who have basically have reached at the top of their profession, it is so fulfilling to see them do so well, and that's the price that you get as a mentor. So mentor others, and you will not see the price that you will see in the end is basically self-satisfaction. Congratulations, Dr. Gao and Dr. Doliente, for a job well done tonight.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jurado. Please feel better. We really appreciate that your strong commitment and support to PNAA and to this program. We really appreciate you. All right. So on this note, we would like to thank our audience, all our participants. Again, thank you to our dear speakers, our steering committee members. We now transition to our pulong, which we require our mentors and mentees to stay. So we can connect and share successes, stories, challenges. This will be a good time for us to, again, be as a one community. All right. So I'll turn it over to Dr. Sagar, our chair of the P3 program. Dr. Sagar.
Thank you so much, Warley, for moderating this evening's event. It was a wonderful sharing of journeys, and we all appreciate Dr. Doliente and Dr. Gao. On behalf of the P3 Steering Committee, I thank all the mentors and the mentees who took the time to be with us tonight. The success of your mentoring partnerships depend on the mentors and mentees working together with the mentee, with the mentor guiding the mentee in formulating 2 or 3 SMART goals for this entire year. The steering committee is here for all of you. Your success will be our success. Please do not hesitate to email us through the PNA Patnu by Gmail or our individual emails. And this is your time. Questions, comments on the process. We're here as a panel for you. And may I address one question before as you think of something? If anyone is hesitating to continue in the program for lack of time, please rethink it, because the very thing that you're afraid of, that you're not gonna have time, it will be the guidance of your mentor who has the wisdom, the skills, and the knowledge to guide you, whether it's chapter presidency, whether it is writing an article, or any of the SMART goals that you are formulating.
Mhm. And if I can interject something, Dr. Sagar,
Yes, please.
please remember, especially for our mentees, you're the one driving this relationship. I think you can drive the time, right? You are not compelled to, do things in a certain time frame. You work with your mentors, so it's really up to you. It's up to you in terms of formulating or setting some goals. It's totally up to you. Of course, it should be agreed upon, right, in terms of how you're communicating each other, how you're meeting, and how you're working in terms of attaining your goals. So please, no pressure.
Mhm.
Questions from our mentors, comments? Did everyone meet their mentees yet? The initial meeting?
Romeo, this is Risa Mauricio. Can I say something?
Sure, Dr. Mauricio. Yep.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. Again, I just want, I heard what Dr. Sager was saying about anxiety, and that is a normal process. If no one is anxious, right, that means, it's dangerous. However, when you create your SMART goal, that's the R when you state your goal, the realistic part of it. We know that we would end after a year. So when you work closely with your mentor, that would be the time that a discussion can happen on what be realistic with your project. And so sometimes, at the beginning, we tend to make, glorious goals for ourselves. But if you think that you cannot finish it in a year, then you have also, midway to recalibrate it. So what I was telling my mentee, we will meet, because we are meeting every month and every quarter, we are going to evaluate the goal so that we know where she is or where we are in terms of accomplishing whatever goal was established, and then you can titrate along the way so that there will be no frustrations on both ends. I think it's better to do it that way.
Yeah.
That's just my thought.
Thank you, Dr. Mauricio. I see Ethel raised
Yes.
her hand. Ethel?
Hi, it's Ethel. I'm from Pinal, the Oregon and Washington chapter, and I know it's kind of late for me. I don't know if I can join with anybody looking for mentorship for, say, like nutrition in nursing, as far as like functional nutrition. If you guys can connect me, if it's not too late, I would love to be, during that time, the initial phase, I was overwhelmed with my own personal life. And I think I can allocate some time for this. And I put it in my evaluation too. So
Ethel, thank you.
if it's not too late.
Okay. Thank you. May I say something about the SMART goal? I was thinking of one of the goals of the mentees in this program is to publish an article. If that's the overarching goal, there are smaller steps to that, like sending an inquiry letter, studying guidelines, and or working with your mentor, like with the first draft. So it becomes doable. And like they say, how do you eat an elephant is, you do the first bite. And I always think of the 1,000 miles journey is, it begins with one step.
Yeah.
And Nanette has her hand up. Yes, Nanette, you have the floor.
Yes po, I still have not had a chance to meet Miss Jennifer or get connected with my mentor.
Oh,
Okay.
what's the last
Who's your
name?
mentor?
Jennifer.
Jennifer Martisano?
Yeah, she's here, but I have not had a chance to connect with her.
Okay, I'll
Ah,
email you both
Thank
tonight
you.
after the
Yeah.
pulong.
That would be good. Thank you.
Thank you, Nanette.
Thank you, Nanette. Yeah. And other examples of goals are someone needs to wants to be in a leadership role, right? So it could be doing a leadership skills assessment or competency assessment, and trying to identify which competencies is again missing, is a gap, considered as a gap. So you work with your mentors in terms of how you can fulfill those gaps.
Mhm.
Hi, Priscilla. We have a question here on the chat.
Okay.
There's somebody, Maureen is asking if it's too late to join the program. And when is the next one? She just saw the information on Facebook.
Yeah, we are running this for a year, and that question is actually the same as the question of Ethel Gonzalez, who just
Yes.
put it. The steering committee will need to talk about this, for like a short-term mentoring along with our the long-term, the 1-year program. We need to think about that. The ANA mentorship program, which I'm serving as the mentor advisor, is about to implement what they call flash mentoring, which is a very short-term program, because they're finding that some people are needing just like a short-term, like to leap through their SMART goal instead of the long-term, which is based on experience. It's like, if you have more than 5 years of experience, it's like you could be a mentor. So we'll think about it. We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Any other questions or any additions from our steering committee? I think it's also a good time to thank Susan Riputente. We will be having a survey for all the mentors and mentees, and we really are requesting for full cooperation. This is to look at the program so that we'll be able to enhance it to benefit our Filipino-American colleagues. So Susan Riputente is in the process of putting the survey, which Dr. Lorraine Evangelista has been helping the steering committee. So Susan, do you want to make a comment, please, about it?
Hello. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Just like what Dr. Sager, this is still in the designing stage. It's a quite a long survey, which will probably you need to really take your time to answer the survey. And I will be putting this together. The only thing that I would like to make sure that all your email address that you have given to the committee is what is, is accurate, and that's so that the survey will go to your email appropriately. So I would say my goal for this is within a week to be able to put this out there.
Thank you, Susan. And please note that when we extrapolate the survey results, we will be maintaining anonymity. So even though it goes to your email, when it's presented, right? We want to make sure that it would remain confidential and anonymous from you as responder.
It will be in aggregates.
I have a question to the mentees and to the audience out there. So I want you, and I will give a prize to someone who is going to answer my question. How do we reach out to those colleagues of ours across America in order for them to really attend our webinars? How would we do it? I will give a prize to someone who is going to give an honest LinkedIn. Are we doing that, Warley, Dr. Remigio?
The LinkedIn, Dr. Briones?
Yeah, they said LinkedIn and social media, which Carol is doing.
Yes. We actually socialized this in LinkedIn as well. And thanks to Carol, our chair for marketing and communications, I think we've utilized Facebook, other social media platforms, Twitter. But I think we still have some opportunity, right, to reach other members of PNAA. And even outside the PNAA, because these are relevant to anyone, right, in our nursing community.
Okay, Dr. Romeo, they want door prizes, which I think it is. If you have door prizes, it will begin to really create some kind of interest for some.
Yep.
And,
We'll do that for Pulong 3 and Webinar 3.
yeah, so look at this. There are very good suggestions right here on chat.
There was a hand, Larissa Africa's hand was up before. Larissa.
Yes, with social media, sometimes I'm not on Facebook all the time. I'm not on LinkedIn all the time, and I would miss it. And the only reason that I remembered that this was happening today and I registered was because we talked about it during the first Pulong. So if you're not a person who goes on social media all the time, you're going to miss the information. I'm wondering, you all have the email addresses of all of the members, if it would be worth just sending an email and making sure that they know it's open for all members.
I did send an email to all the mentors.
To all members of PNAA.
All members.
Right. We're trying to engage members at large and not just the mentors. Then I think we need to do a different way of reaching out. If we have everybody's emails anyway, it might be a good opportunity.
That's a great point, Dr.
Hi, this is Carol, and I'm the chair of the communications and marketing. I do send this in the email. I'm not sure if you guys are getting it because it's going through your spam or junk folder, but I do send this in the PNAA community bulletin board.
Oh,
Thank
there's
you.
a good one. Having a DNP speakers makes anybody intimidated. I think why not have a regular nurse share their experiences that would open up a floor discussion. There you go. Okay,
Mhm.
that's good.
That's a great feedback as well. And please know that our True North are based on your feedback and assessments, right? We've gathered all of the goals of our mentors and mentees and try to find a common theme. So we try to address those and by selecting the appropriate speakers. I think, and we will continue to have a diverse perspectives, right? Having speakers from various backgrounds.
Oh, you know what, Dr. Remigio? They have wonderful suggestions right on the chat. So we learn from this, coming from them, asking that question, what really matters to them? It's there.
Carol, can we please have a copy of the chat? It would be helpful if
Yes,
we have a recording. Thank you.
yes,
Yes,
yes.
it's being recorded.
May I ask then, and I'm going, please look at this, Carol, and I'm going to give a gift to someone who really has a very poignant, they express their ideas. So thank you so much. For this, may I request that each one of us get a friend and a friend and a friend and a friend to bring them here in this venue. When is the next one that's coming up, Dr. Mejio? When is it?
It's
It's on May, oh, my calendar. With all my binders here, I still, it will be on Wednesday, May 24th at 9
Wednesday.
p.m.
it's
Okay,
the third Wednesday of the month.
all right.
It's May 24th,
May
Wednesday. We all, you have your schedules on Moodle. And I also emailed it to all of you. If you lost it, then you can download it from Moodle.
Yep. And if you can remember, it's always the last Wednesday of the month.
Last Wednesday of the month. There you go. Last Wednesday of the month. I
At
think
9 p.m.
we have heard the suggestions. It will grow. It will
Yep.
grow.
Yes, definitely. Thank you, Dr. Brianis. Any other comment, feedback, any barriers that you're facing with your mentoring relationship? Is it moving along? Yes.
You have the floor, Larissa.
Thank you. My mentee and I have been having difficulty connecting because she's in school and she has a lot of projects. We have a meeting finally scheduled for tomorrow, so we'll actually be discussing how do we keep this moving forward. And to Dr. Mauricio's point earlier about defining what those goals are so they are not so overwhelming, and maybe defining them in small steps. And Dr. Sager, you pointed to this as well. It's something that she and I can talk through tomorrow before she makes a decision on whether it's a good fit at this time and with everything else that's going on with her.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Africa. From our mentees, did any one of you have met their mentors? And maybe you can share what you have done so far from our mentees.
Good afternoon. Good evening, Dr. Romeo. It's Hazel. I have trouble with my video right now. Yes. This coming Monday, I will be doing one of the specifics for the SMART goals. I'll be taking my NPD certification this coming Monday. I'm studying for that, and hopefully I will be successful on it. And thank you so much for your time. For taking time to really check the SMART goals that I have. And thank you for your inputs.
Thank you, Hazel.
Hazel, may I ask you a question before we take Nanette? Are you having difficulty getting into Moodle? We have a lot of resources and discussion, and I think people are going to be missing out if they're not able to go in.
I do.
Dr. Segar, I have to be honest, I wasn't able to do the Google registration yet, but I will be doing that tomorrow.
Okay. You could email Manny Ramos. He had emailed everyone. It was titled Your New Moodle Account.
Yeah.
Yes, all right, I'll do that. Thank you,
Yeah.
Dr. Segar.
You're welcome. I think Nanette has her hand up. Before Nanette, were you raising your hand?
I just want to say good luck to her. I just did my NPD and passed it last week.
Yay.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yeah, good luck to you.
Yeah, no pressure, Hazel. I know you've been preparing, and I know that's one of your goals in our mentoring relationship. So I know you can ace it. So good luck.
Good luck.
Any other questions or comments from mentees or mentors or the steering committee? Anyone who hasn't spoken? Connie, you have the floor. You're muted.
Thank you, Dr. Sagar, and good evening, everyone. My name is Connie, and I'm a mentee of Dr. Gao. I'm so blessed hearing her story coming from the Philippines to here, and it really resonates me with her stories, and I think we will have a great mentee-mentor relationship moving forward. And we already established our first meeting, I think right after our pull on the other last April. And it's really going well. And I really thank you, Dr. Gao, for always reaching out to me, and you inspire me a lot. Everybody here at PNAA. And I would like to share this to my colleagues at Kaiser. I'm here at Sacramento area.
Thank you, Connie.
Thank you.
so much.
Dr. Remio, may I? Connie, thank you so much for sharing. But I also wanted to take this opportunity to recognize you for your most recent accomplishment, having been selected as one of the leaders of Kaiser Permanente to join the Leadership Fellowship. You are part of a select group of leaders at Kaiser Permanente, and this is because you are really investing in your professional development. And I am very proud of you and proud of the path that you have chosen.
Thank you.
Dr. Gao.
Thank you, Dr. Gao.
Reggie Lapot, you have your hand up. You're muted.
I'm muted. No, I'm not muted.
No,
We
I'm not
can hear
muted.
you now.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Segar. I am happy to meet my mentor, which is here also, Kathy Yago. We were there enjoying in the Maui conference. And we have talked about our mentor-mentee relationship, and that our plan is that we will have sit down on our, I will just send to her my goals and what are my, and also my resume. And I really appreciate Kathy. She is very approachable. And I know that she is very supportive of whatever my plans will be. Although I plan to have a doctorate in public health, but I am still, trying to to figure out how it will be with my responsibilities with my family, with my chapter, and also, of course, I have also my spiritual community. Okay, but I know that I am in good hands with Kathy. Thank you.
Thank you, Reggie.
Sharing.
Mhm.
Anyone else?
All right.
Picture of Miss
Picture.
Pulon
Yeah,
too.
it's your time.
Should put
Put
gallery.
on your video, your